So I'm very fortunate to be on with Mustafa Ali, who is a TNA superstar. Mustafa, how are you, man?
Jordan, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Living the dream, as I say.
There you go.
So you've got a busy week coming up, obviously with Slammiversary. How prepared are you for this upcoming match with someone who you are very familiar with in Cedric Alexander?
One thing about me is that there's no need for me to get ready. I always stay ready. So I'm as prepared. I'm prepared for it to be today. I'll be prepared for it on Sunday. There is an immense amount of pressure. I've been doing media all day, and everyone I've talked to, including current TNA stars as well as legends in the game, they're all circling Cedric versus Ali as the match of the night. That's going to be the match. That's going to be a match that steals the show. That's going to be the one that gets the standing ovation. And part of me expects that and appreciates that, but now it's starting to kind of weigh on me about you're expected to deliver something, and they've seen it before. And when they saw it before, it was 7, 8 years ago. Cedric and I, there's a friendship there, but I think that friendship is going to have to be sacrificed. I think that friendship is not going to be the same anymore. I think we both know what needs to be done to deliver this Sunday, and I think the fans should realize that two guys are actually willing to give up their friendship for this match. It's going to be special, no doubt. It's going to be painful. I like anytime I compete, I will give you guys my all. But this is for something. This is for a greater good. This is to get the campaign back on track. This is to get Order 4 back on track. This is all designed for me to become the TNA World Champion. So after I defeat Cedric this Sunday, TNA management will have no choice other than to put me back in world title contention, and the campaign will pick up where it left off.
I'm glad you said that because obviously one of my questions was obviously as soon as you defeat Cedric Alexander on Sunday, you will be, in my opinion, in the title picture. So obviously the current champion is Trick Williams. How do you feel about a WWE NXT superstar holding the title?
I think all that blame goes on to Joe Henry, right? I can't be mad that
True.
someone stole the ball. I can't be mad that I can't be mad that someone picked up the ball when Joe Henry dropped it. Joe Henry had a lot of pressure, and I think the pressure got to him. The Royal Rumble appearance, the meet and greets. I'm very happy for Joe. Joe's worked very, very hard for all of his success. I think Joe's hands got a little sweaty. I think he wasn't able to hold on to that belt. I think he felt the pressure and he slipped. And Trick Williams was there to pick up the ball. So no, there's no hostility or anger towards Trick Williams doing what Trick Williams needs to do to get ahead of the game. I think anyone in a position would have done that. The blame, the anger, and the resentment as a TNA wrestler comes to Joe Henry. He's the leader that you all wanted. He's the champion that you all cheer for. One thing that doesn't bug me anymore is when people boo, because I've seen what they're willing to cheer for. People are willing to cheer for Joe Henry. And I look at Joe, and I don't see what there is to cheer for. That man literally dropped the grandest prize that this organization has. He dropped it to an outsider. And now they're rooting for him to win it back. But fear not, good citizens of TNA, for when I finally get back in world title contention, I will become the world champion. And I would never, ever get us in this sort of mess ever again.
I mean, some will say that you've had an incredible 18 months in TNA. You won the NXT, no, you won the,
The,
sorry,
the
X
X Division.
Division
This is
Championship
my
in your
this is
debut.
my debut match in the main event against Chris Sabin, a literal legend. They gave me no biggie, but go on.
Yeah, obviously, with you being in TNA for the last 18 months, obviously, X Division Champion in your debut match, you're going to be going after the world title sometime soon. What is some of your favorite matches or moments that you've had so far?
I promise you, I'm not a very cynical person. I'm not a bit. I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful for everything that I've done. I don't have a favorite match. I don't think I ever will, because in my head, I always see what it could have been and what I originally wanted, and just the way TV works. Sometimes I see something and I know two people have chemistry and I need this much time, but we're only allotted this much time. And even though this is great, this came off great and everyone's happy, I knew if we had this much time, it would have been even better. So maybe it's something that I need to work on. But for me to sit here and lie to you, I wouldn't do that and say this was my favorite or this was because I always know what it could have been or what it should have been. Because I will live and die on ideas that I believe in. So I hope that doesn't sound too cynical. I'm having an incredible time at TNA. One of the great things about TNA is they actually are able to present ideas and collaborate and create with writers and producers, and your idea gets to get to TV, and it's an incredible feeling, right? So for that, I'm forever grateful, and I'm thankful, and I'm very very happy right now. Uh, but for me to sit here and tell you that this is my favorite, I'll always be my worst critic. And even if I watch something back and as good as it is, I'm like, yeah, but like I wanted this to happen and this to happen. So I don't have something to give to you other than it hasn't happened yet.
Interesting. So obviously, there's a lot of talent on the TNA roster. Who haven't you stepped in the ring with yet that you would love to?
Oh man, that's a good question. Yeah. Off the top of my head, because I have a profound respect for him and his past and what he did for independent wrestling and in ROH and even in TNA, obviously, is Eddie Edwards. And I have an immense respect for him. And for some reason, I think we would mesh really well uh, in the ring. And I'd actually like to have a match with Moose. I think Moose and I are very, very different in styles, but Moose is so strong and so fast, has great cardio, great presence, great presentation that I think him and I can deliver one hell of a match. How that would work in the context of our characters, I'm not quite sure, but those are two guys that kind of stick out of my mind. Steve Macklin, I think him and I can do something special as well. So those are three guys that I think um, I hope to cross paths with.
Interesting. So obviously, back to Slammiversary with your match with Cedric Alexander. You've been friends, you've been enemies, you've been tag partners. You've pretty much done it all with him. Obviously, you mentioned it's been 7 years. It was at WrestleMania 34 that you had your last match with him. Unfortunately for you, you lost. You are 2-0, if I'm correct, against him. You've lost both times.
Thanks,
Would you?
Jordan. Thanks for the reminder.
Sorry. Would you say you need to win this one?
It's paramount. If Cedric is victorious again, then I have no real claim that I was ever better than him. Right? I'm in my best form. I am in my prime right now, and it's funny because Cedric calls himself Prime Cedric Alexander right now, but I disagree. I think I'm in my prime right now. I think I've always been better than him. It's been always a slip. If you go back and watch WrestleMania 34, I actually beat him. I hit what I did at the time an inverted 450 splash. I made the crucial mistake of hooking the inside leg rather than his outside leg, which is the leg that I usually hook. I hooked his inside leg, and at the count of three, his outside leg went to the bottom rope. Had I not made that incredibly small mistake, I would have won that WrestleMania match. I would have been the face of the cruiserweight division. I would have been a champion. I would have had a WrestleMania moment. That mistake, I defeated myself at WrestleMania, not Cedric. That mistake cost me everything. I will not make that mistake. I will not miss. I will hit all of my shots. I will defeat Cedric simply because I have to. I am destined to become the TNA World Champion. And an old foe, an old friend, is not going to get in my way. So Cedric Alexander has two choices: stand beside me or move out of the way. If he refuses to do either, I have to go through him. I think at the end of the day, Cedric Alexander is just in my way.
100%. Obviously, no doubt you'll be winning in the next few days. I
I have no doubt.
100% will believe that. And then on to better and bigger things. So obviously, we know that Slammiversary is 20 this year. What was one of your favorite Slammiversary moments within the last 20 years?
Oh man, I can't even think of what. He's a bit of a controversial figure. But if you go back and watch Austin Aries versus AJ Styles, they had one hell of a match, and I always thought um, that dynamic of Aries and Styles was always so good because AJ is obviously just beyond in shape now, but even then, both guys are in shape. But they were always kind of like perceived as smaller guys. But if you go back and watch these strikes, they are beating the crap. If you try, there's no holding back. There's actual animosity. And I think you're going to see a lot of that this Sunday. I think you're going to see that level of intensity and animosity and aggression between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. So that's the first memory that pops out to me. AJ Styles has had so many incredible moments, specifically at Slammiversary, but in TNA overall. And if you go back and look at it, that's the guy that I think easily there's a big generation, my generation included, that was influenced by Shawn Michaels, right? Like we wanted to emulate and be like Shawn. I think AJ Styles is that guy now for this new generation that's now coming in. I have a wrestling school out here in Chicago, and I can't tell you how many guys say that like AJ Styles is the reason that they just like AJ Styles is their Shawn Michaels or their Bret Hart. Like he's that work rate. I want to be like that guy. So yeah, word is there's something phenomenal going to happen this Sunday too. So you have to
Interesting.
tune in and see. You have to tune in and see.
Interesting. So obviously you mentioned AJ Styles. 20 is a really big number. Even 10, 5 years, do you know what I mean? 15, but
Yeah,
20 years.
TNA president Carlos Silva recently said that this is such a huge event. He started calling it phenomenal. So you'll have to watch on Sunday and see what he means by that.
Interesting. I'm sure a lot of people around the world will tune in to see what could happen.
Right.
Obviously, we know that the UK is a big fan base of TNA. They did a tour, I think, 2 years ago. Is it something that you would love to do this year?
Oh, so I've been so fortunate to visit the UK. I think maybe twice this year, maybe last year as well. Um, I always have the perception that anytime I'm able to do something international, it's just, a lot of the fans don't get to see us on a regular basis. So there's just more excitement that, even in my time in WWE, I would love coming over to the UK. It's just like, it's almost this rock star feel. Like we'd get off the bus and fans would mob us, and it's at the airport. And at the time, I was super young. I thought it was awesome and cool. And some of the more grizzled veterans are like doing one of these, but I loved it. I love being able to hear fans and hear how much they appreciate us, and signing autographs and taking pictures, because I remembered what it was like to do the same. To see a Rey Mysterio or Jeff Hardy and lose my mind. I'm like, oh, that's the guy that I watched on TV that I'm emulating, that I love. So yes, absolutely. I hope TNA comes over. I hope we do a whole tour there. I hope we hit all the major cities. I hope we're able to do meet and greets, and able to meet these fans and tell them how much we appreciate them, and put on some killer shows for you guys.
That would be awesome. Because I know they did one back in like the winter of 2023, and that
Right.
was that was a sellout. Honestly, I think you came over for like 4 days, but it was awesome. Hopefully it
That'd be
happens this
great.
year.
Sign me up, brother.
Awesome. So the final question: who is your Mount Rushmore of TNA?
Ooh. So it's got to be AJ Styles first and foremost. I love what Abyss did. Um, he had so many moments as well. You kind of have to, by default, throw Jeff Jarrett on it, right? Because it doesn't really happen without him, you know? Jeff is three. Kurt Angle, I mean, I know that's like the go-to, but like he really did some of his best work in
For
TNA,
sure.
I'd say. And then there's so many guys. I didn't want to leave someone off, but Rude comes to mind, but Amazing Red and Low Key also come to mind. Even Sanjay, like that was my thing, like the X division. So instead of giving it to a wrestler, the last spot I'll give is to the X division as a whole. Like that's on my Rushmore. It's literally you could just put an X on that last one. So I'll put
I
the X
mean,
division.
there's someone you even said that who's been there for about 11 years, Eddie Edwards. People
Yeah,
would
yeah,
arguably put him
absolutely.
on.
Absolutely, absolutely, a pillar of the organization.
Definitely. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I do really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. I appreciate the talk as well.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, mate.
All right.